Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manon.
Inviting me.
Yes, thank you for bringing these wonderful films and showing these 3 works and the newest one that you have just finished. I'm always amazed by the physicality that you have in these films. It's always this kind of density that develops through the films. It's a kind of direct experience, but also in a referring way. Of course, like in the first film that we saw tonight, I haven't seen in a long time, the Dissonant. Maybe you can talk a little about the project that you did with the dancer former dancer from Rosas, and about how you came to the idea and how you developed the project.
Well, it's a long time ago. It's a film from 2010, but I started in 2009. Actually, Cynthia Loumet, she dances with Rosa's Antres de Keersmaker, and she also lives in Brussels. And I knew her for a very long time already, and I really liked the way. Well, I like her dancing. I mean, it's the precision, the physicality of it, and I wanted to work for a long time with her. And then at a certain moment, she decided to work less or not less at Rosas, so we had the opportunity to work together. And at the same time, I had made this film 2x 433, based on 433 of John Cage, and there it's very much like how do you say, an investigation on the relation sound-image and the absence of sound in cinema. And then I was thinking I want to do actually something reverse, to have a very physical presence in the sound, with an absence of the image, and to see how that can work. And then the idea to work with the dancer sort of came together. It's also a film about memory of her. It has many different layers.
It is actually a score that she had been working with for a long time. It was.
No, it's actually, I asked her to choreograph a piece of music, a dance on a piece of music she had strong memories of. But it's not a piece of music that she danced on, but it's from the first dance piece of Rosas she danced with. And it's the piece that's played just before she has to start dancing. But she choreographed something new, a new piece on this.
So it has nothing to do with the first score that she developed with this.
No,
so completely new. When she developed it, was it from the beginning on? You worked on the score together, or was it completely she was developing it for the dance and you were, or was it almost a pas de deux? Like, because your camera is also, of course, like taking certain moves, and was it a kind of coordinated thing that you developed together, or was it she developed this and you developed this?
Well, she really developed it. But I often came to watch, and we discussed certain movements. Actually, I was also interested as, like, when you're 40 years, she was 40 years at that time, as a dancer, how you have a kind of bodily memory of a lot of movements, because they often dance still older pieces, and so that was one of the questions I asked her to take the movements actually from this memory, from this bodily memory, and base the choreography on this.
The question of the memory is, we see it in the very beginning that she also is like going through a certain score. We just prepare. It's kind of almost this kind of like let us drive into the actual movement. But then at the same time, we have the 3 blanks, or like the. No, 2 blanks in between.
Blacks, actually.
Blacks, exactly. And what I found interesting is that, of course, then that's what I try to say in the introduction. There's this kind of intense momentum where we actually proceed and we see something. Or I had the feeling I continue. I start to see a score or take something. What I remember from what I just have seen. This kind of that what you had in mind, like this kind of in terms of image production and memory?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to create a film actually without an image and just with the sounds. But then I was thinking about it, how to do it, and then at a certain moment I thought actually it's most interesting to use the length of the 60mm film, which is 3 minutes, and when it's finished and the time it needs to change the film to keep that moment without the image, to sort of put it in brackets.
And it also brings to the forefront, of course, our own bodies. I mean, this is also something that's important. That becomes also, or maybe that's the transition also to the next film. I mean, the question of the challenge for I mean, that's what I felt at least. What am I feeling when I'm actually in the intense experience of the room that I'm sitting in? So we have three very different ways of dealing with space, which is also I think the kind of hidden topic in all of your films. It's kind of very present.
It's very much about the space and body in all three films, actually.
But there it was almost that I had a kind of memory of the film that I just saw before, because there were things coming back that I saw in the first part of One Too Many, and then in the second part all of a sudden things started to when the words came up in the monologue, there was a resonance of the enduring tone and this kind of back and forth. There was also was it a kind of idea to have this kind of overlaps and
yeah, for One Too Many, for me it's a film about the voice, but it's in a way it's not. And I wanted to make a film really in 3 parts. It was almost like an essay. But now I was looking at it and I thought I should have put Too and Many in between to make it more distinct, because it's really like 3 perspectives on what a voice could be, or. No, not could be. What's how a voice is always in between things, and like the first part, the flute. For me, actually, when I saw the Michael Smit performing this piece, I thought that's really for me the beginning of the voice. It's because it's the breathing and it's the body, and it's the flute is like the instrument the closest to the voice, and it's just this interior space where the voice comes from.
How did you develop that film? Was it one after the other that you had started with one and then the second part, or was it from the beginning on that you thought I have this idea that these are the 3 parts?
No, it was really very parallel, and it's sort of for me. Actually, the subject of the voice is something that's already a long time sort of undercurrent subject in the films, and so I was thinking about it a lot, and it was always like you something you can't define. So it's so I can't make just one film about it. I want to approach it from different perspectives, and it's so difficult to remember how things come. But I was listening to Roland Barthes, and then I was talking about it with Mette, and then suddenly we were talking about his voice and not about the content of his lectures, and so then that's sort of. Then I thought that's his subject, and then it was actually the most difficult part to find an image for, and
the third part.
Third part is I really wanted to have one part where there's a voice voice with a singing voice, but with no words, and so I started to look for a piece of music that had this, and I found this piece of Chelsea, and then for me, it was also like the voice is also something that's always addressed to someone, and I thought for this third part, I want to have an audience. So even if it's a piece without words that have meaning, it's just phonemes. It's I wanted to be addressed to people, and there. And at that point, I already filmed the flute part, and I thought I want to, because that's so much like sort of enveloping the body with one movement, and it's this space, and so I thought I want to have this the whole space filled with the voice. So I asked the audience to try to find the right position for them to listen. In the space, and to move around, and to test where they could hear best.
Yeah. For me, it was like perfect because I had the feeling like there was this one on one side you had this centrifugal power, like that was like turning towards the inside, like they were surrounding it, and it was always coming to this one center, and the other one like makes you almost like fly further and further away and into the other sphere that is surrounding where the voice comes from. So and then there's the middle part that is kind of like almost the what you said, like it's the trickiest part in terms to find an image for, which is almost a little corresponding to me then to the black that you had in the film before. Where there's this kind of almost neutrality which pushes you here in the cinema, for instance, into a very intense spatial experience and think where the words are.
It works better in cinema, the film, because you're more concentrated. I mean, I think it's a part where you very easily lose track.
Yeah. I find it really good. And the newest one. Tell us about the long time cooperation with George.
Well, George van Dam, I already worked with from the film Sylvia Castell Paris. It's one of the first long films I made. And so we worked together on the soundtrack, and it's really through working on the soundtrack with him that I also started to become more interested in sound, and that it's developed my interest in how sound influences the image, and how sound gives a very physical experience of film. And so that's very much through working on the sound. And George, he asked me already for 3 years, I think, if we could do something together on this piece of Luciano Berio. And I really wanted to work with him because it's a fantastic person to work with, but I found the piece very difficult somehow, and I didn't see the purpose so much. And
what was the difficult part?
No, I didn't know what to do with it, because I usually come to music from another angle. It's like more conceptual, where more I'm thinking about other things, and then sort of the music is kind of answer to it. And this really started with the music, and so I didn't know, and it was like pushing it away. And then at a certain point we were talking, and he said, "Yeah, shall I play it for you?" And then he was playing it, and then I was watching him, and then suddenly I thought, actually, I was very much thinking about rhythm at that time, and how, but more in a sociological way, how different rhythms can coexist, and then I was looking at his body, and I was really struck by all the different rhythms that you see at the same time. Well, you see a whole, and it sounds like a totality, but it's composed of so many different rhythms on the violin, the hands, the bow, the shoulders. So I suddenly thought, that's super interesting, because it's also how you can understand, in a way, the music, because it's made from different rhythms. It's well, and so then we started to talk about this, and about how kind of images So and George, he saw the piece of Berio very much as an architecture, as a very spatial thing, and I was interested in rhythms, so we started to think out to what kind of images we could use, but very soon we decided on very detailed images that show the rhythms, and we wanted to start from him playing as a whole, but in the editing we decided to reverse it because it was too much like a portrait of a violinist, and then we first had him playing, and then a kind of inserts on the impulses, on the accents with white, and then it's just didn't work, and then we reversed it, and that's and I think it's a very important statement in the beginning that it's about listening, that it's more about music than about the film, or not about it's about the film, but about the image.
Right. But then in that sense, it is also a continuation to Presto Perfect Sound, because it's this is one of the goals that you had together with that film, was like also turning around the structure of course music usually in film following the image. You turned it around, and I think you very beautifully expanded this experience into a completely new dynamic.
It was a very different experience, because usually it's a bit more conceptual, the approach, and here it was very I mean, with George, he's a musician, and it's not because he's a musician, because many musicians can talk very well, but George is really not a person of words, so it's like touching, and it's and also in the editing, so I felt super uncertain about it in the beginning, because I thought I can't talk about this film.
Okay, maybe there are more questions from the audience. But maybe someone would like to ask that in a more private situation outside, so then we can talk outside.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
If people have questions concerning that, that process, we will both be outside, and maybe you join us for a drink. And I hope you enjoyed the program. Thank you again, Manon, for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
It was great. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the evening, and maybe you come back one of the other days. Have a nice evening. Bye.